Hi guys, what's up? What's down? What's sideways? James here for Chronic Fatigue Syndrome. My friend, my enemy, my constant companion. Day 95. Fun things. Um. So I was just having a think about how the life with chronic fatigue syndrome. Even though I've had chronic fatigue syndrome for the majority of my life, and due to the nature of CFS and fibromyalgia syndrome, um, it's not. It can all look the same, but no year is the same. So, by that I mean, like when I was a child, um, I used to I used to fear Friday nights for a long period, and the reason being is because Friday nights were so awful. Like I'd got to the end of the week, I was so run down, um, and the only way I could describe what it was like it's like being delirious. Um, it was like a delirium at night when I was trying to go to sleep. It was like a delirium, or I might sleep, I might doze off, have nightmares, and then uh, wake up, and I might be halfway up the stairs to the next story of the house, or so kind of sleepwalking. I knew I was moving, but I wasn't. I will go and do this, and I just remember Friday nights being um, super unpleasant. And it was really weird because for a time during that, Friday nights I was doing fencing. So I was like, yeah, I'll go to fencing. Woo! And then that night, and that happened regularly enough for me to really dislike Friday nights. Really dislike them. Um, and then, get through the night, and it's fine. Saturday morning cartoons kind of eased it a bit. But so that was one period, and then another period where like I've been bedridden several times, um, either completely or for the major part of the day. There have been times when I have been in continuously, like I've woken up and my body's and tried to vomit. Like I felt so sick in the morning, um, and I'm just like I need to vomit. I've got to vomit, uh, and that lasted for a period of years, and that really wrecked me. That phase, like I lost so much weight. I was skin and bone and stuff like that. Couldn't get out of bed until 12 every day. I couldn't get to sleep at night. It was just pleasant. And then you've got the insomnia parts, and they kind of come and go. And then you've got the lack of appetite, the weight loss, the temperature being thrown up and down, the fatigue aspects, the pain aspects, like experiencing the worst pain of your life, or having really really bad background pain continuously. So even though the there's always the and then you've got all the mental stuff that goes with that. That is not fun. So even though having chronic fatigue syndrome, it has its baseline similarities from point to point. You know, your energy is going to be affected, your physical comfort slash discomfort. Uh, so yeah, your physical comfort's going to be affected, your mind state's going to be affected, and a whole bunch of other things. Oh, being very sensitive, and I don't mean like sensitive new age guy. Um, I mean where your skin, a shirt can be too heavy, or you can brush something that's too heavy, or if the um, wallet in your pant pocket or short pocket is causing you discomfort just by rubbing on your leg. It's just rare. So even though there's baseline, there's these mountains and valleys where it just kind of like, oh yeah, let's experience some sort of big variation on this. So, you know, you're really tired or fatigued, then let's have lots of sleep. Or you're really fatigued, let's not be able to get to sleep. you're in pain. Well, then let's have a constant background noise where you just feel like all your muscles are doing this and you know crushing your joints. Or let's have the other way where you're going to experience pain so bad that you might actually black out for moments or not be able to move, or let's have it where you suddenly can't walk anymore. Or, there's lovely variations. So CFS isn't boring. It likes to throw in these variations, even though it's got this constant point-to-point similarities. Um, and the thing about that is going through these mountains and valleys. Um, you it's maddening. It's very crazy, but you see this with other people with chronic fatigue syndrome, and they're going through it as well. And then when you start discussing with them, depending on where they're at, you either appear to be, oh, you're getting better, or oh, you don't know what it's like. And I was like, well, it's actually, neither of those things. I might be better than I was at those points, but I'm not better as in I'm moving towards a cure, yay! And it's not that I don't know what it's like, it's just I had to work my way through that, and I know what got me through. I know I'm kind of on the other side of that now. My next um, valley I've got to dip down into is going to be um, my new and next challenge. And if I talk to someone else, my next big challenge is something that they may have gone through. So it is varied. It is yeah, it's very varied. There's a lot of things that come up, and some of the times you don't even know if it is the chronic fatigue syndrome. Um, were my delirious nights, my nights of, were my bad nights just because I was overstressed and my mindset was in such a way that the only way my body could handle it was to express itself like blah. That kind of thing. Is some of my pain because I'm overstressed. I'm releasing extra adrenaline into my body, and my body can't handle it, and it produces, pain messages or warning messages and that kind of thing. And then because I focus on it, I cycle it, and I cause more of it. So it's that can also be a maddening aspect. Like, how much of it is the chronic fatigue syndrome, how much of it is life, and how much of it is stressing out because of dealing with the chronic fatigue syndrome. Because it's stressful. It's a chronic thing. It's a ongoing, long-term, for most of us, ongoing, long-term thing that we have to deal with. It's very stressful. To think that you're not going to be adversely affected mentally is, well, if you're not adversely affected mentally, go you. I'm actually really happy for you. But it's not been my experience personally, and those I've seen, where there's not been some sort of adverse effect. The people who say that they've got chronic fatigue syndrome and get better after 3, 6, 12, or 24 months, it's a very small window. Always led me to be in the impression that they never actually had chronic fatigue syndrome. Maybe they just had burnt themselves out. Maybe they did have chronic fatigue. They'd worn themselves down. Because our body will react or act like it's got something like chronic fatigue syndrome. If you're just a normal person, you manage to burn yourself out. You have people like, oh, I just crashed, or I had a mental or a physical breakdown, that kind of thing. So very similar experiences, and you can work your way out. They don't have chronic fatigue syndrome. They may think they have, or they may be diagnosed with it, but they don't actually have the chronic fatigue syndrome where like everyone's got it forever, yay, party. The same time, when I say that someone has, let's say, chronic fatigue, or they've burnt out, like adrenaline or hormone wise, and I say for only 3, 6, 12, or 24 months. I only say only because I've had this for 25 plus years. So uh, if someone said, hey James, in 2 years you're going to be better, I'm like, that is cool. I can wait 2 years. I'm happy. Like, woo! 2 more years and I'm better. Yeah. Okay. It's a short time compared to 25 plus years. However, it's actually a really long time. It's a really 3 months of this is a really long time. I wouldn't. You know how people say I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I would wish this on my worst enemy, or worse, because they're my worst enemy. But I wouldn't wish this on someone. You know, it's not a. I wouldn't say, oh, I wish you had this so you know what it's like. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't wish anyone has this. So 3 months is a super long time. However, it's not 25 years, observably. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that, like how it's all like you have this there's a constant similarity between each point, but it's just so many different experiences and feelings and challenges that you get to that you will come across and overcome. So keep it up, guys. Like, go you. It is super stressful. And I hope you can find ways of unwinding and still moving forward. Always move forward. You know, in 5 or 10 years, let's make it so that you're better than where you are now. Even if it's just your mood. Still an improvement. So if you have any questions, or like to introduce yourself, or any comments, please feel free to do so below. I will reply. And please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and hit the little notification button. And thank you very much for letting me share today with you.